Hello, everybody, and welcome back to episode 22 of Matt and John Make a Podcast. We would like to apologize for us not being able to do the AEW / NXT reaction show last night. Some real world things came up, and we were unable to do the show. But as for this week's podcast, we're going to be going over the NFL wildcard games this weekend. Going to be talking a little bit about the finale from the Mandalorian. Going to be going over our thoughts on what we thought of Jumanji 2. We saw that last Friday. And also giving you some thoughts on the late Commissioner David Stern passing away the other day, and with some other small wrestling topics that we will get into. But to kick it off, Matt, I think we should talk about the NFL wildcard games that are coming up this weekend. So if you could just go over some of the games here. And
yes, on the AFC side, we have the Tennessee Titans against the New England Patriots, the Buffalo Bills, and the Houston Texans. On the NFC side, Minnesota Vikings versus the Saints, and Seattle Seahawks versus the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, so these are going to be some very interesting games. I feel like all of them I'm feeling pretty good about who's going to win. The only one that I'm not really entirely sure about is probably is the Houston and the Buffalo game. That seems to me like a real toss up. But I tell you that a trendy pick that has been for an upset pick, I would think has to be with the Tennessee Titans over the Patriots right now. What do you think about the odds there?
And at the same time, I'm going to look up the actual betting odds to see how Vegas is doing. But I think this is the first time in a long time that New England is very shaky going into the playoffs. They're playing at where are they playing? They're playing at home, obviously.
Yep.
I still think there's a potential, but I just feel like the Patriots. I think Tom Brady, playoff factor. I think if they do win, I think they squeeze it out. I'm leaning toward that because it's up at New England. I think it's going to be. I don't think it's not going to be a blowout.
No,
I think it's just going to be close. But that playoff experience, I think is going to win over just a bit.
Yeah, I think either way, regardless, they're going to lose against Kansas City in the next round. I just don't feel that they have the offense. They don't have the offensive playmakers to be able to score 20 or 30 points. Just like they don't have that capability. Their offensive line has been fairly inconsistent. They have had a very inconsistent running game essentially all season long, and they're putting a ton of pressure on their defense. And you are starting to now see it. When you're constantly asking your defense to be on the field 25, 30, 35 minutes per game, sooner or later that's going to take a toll. Just ask the Pittsburgh Steelers. Yep. They played really good defense, but the last 2 or 3 weeks they were showing more and more cracks just because they're just on the field constantly.
Yeah, the Patriots are favored on the money line here if I'm looking at our casino app here at minus 235 and a 5.5 point favorite.
That to me is a little bit high. I'm kind of shocked actually. It's that high. Yeah.
Points, yeah.
Like five
and a half. I think that's that's almost a freaking sweet spot right there.
I mean, like,
because it's either between a field goal in 6 points.
Yeah.
So maybe in a touchdown. Honestly that wouldn't surprise me if he just one touchdown separates the two. But to be favored that much, I'm not surprised. But 5.5, that's still it's close.
Yeah. And as for the Houston and the Buffalo game, this game I'm not particularly looking forward to. This has the potential to be either a really good game or it could be a really boring game. Because if you look at the Houston Texans, they have been really inconsistent. Like they beat the Patriots. I think it was around week 13 or week 14, and then they went up against, I want to say it was against the Denver Broncos, and they just got absolutely just annihilated at home, no less. But they are getting all pro JJ Watt back for the postseason.
Yeah.
So that will definitely help. Now how much he's going to actually play remains to be seen, just because I believe he's been on IR, I believe, since November, if memory serves me correctly. Yeah. But I am leaning towards Houston. I just feel that they have the better quarterback. I will say though, I feel like that with the Buffalo Bills, they are a better coach team. They have a way better defense. I trust their offensive line more, but I'm going with Deshaun over a Josh Allen right now, but this is going to be a really close game. I don't feel like that there is not one argument to me where you can kind of convince me that hey, one team is supremely better in one area. I mean maybe you can convince me that Buffalo's defense is really good and really elite and could force to have Deshaun Watson into some bad turnovers. But I'm gonna say Houston there.
Yeah.
What do you think, man?
I think I'm gonna lean Houston as well, and I do believe it should be a closer game. That's what Vegas saying. It's 2.5 point spread. I think favoring Houston minus 152. So closer odds in this. But I think JJ's back. I know they probably want to keep him somewhat protected, but I think if he's willing and able, I think he's going to play a good portion of this game, depending on situation. I do think Houston sneaks this out. But again, Buffalo, I think they have a good defense, but I don't trust their quarterback.
No.
Again, playoffs is a different time. I mean, again, anything can happen. Almost a cop-out answer, but I'm gonna go with just Houston.
And Houston's defense has been really up and down too. So I mean, it just depends. It depends what Buffalo quarterback shows up. So, but on the NFC side, to me, these are I'm feeling pretty confident about. So we have the Saints at home against the Vikings. Yeah, like
the odds.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll wait till you're done.
Yeah, I mean, like it's like unless like basically. Unless basically New Orleans decides to not even show up, I will be stuck.
Or the refs just call and not call pass interference.
Exactly. They are such a superior team in every facet that you look at. And just from a like momentum perspective, like, you know, Saints are on a freaking high, like, because I believe outside of the loss against Atlanta and against the 49ers, they've been essentially unstoppable this season. So I have no reason to believe otherwise, as far as, you know, why it would not shock me at all if they won by at least 2 or 3 touchdowns. Like, I mean, like, to me, with the Saints, they are one of the favorites to get to the and possibly win the Super Bowl this year. So I have very high expectations that they're going to take care of.
They are minus 420 favorites.
Oh God!
And 8.5 points at home,
especially at home.
At home,
like if this was in Minnesota, I may give I would give the Vikings a better chance, but at home, no way. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about the Saints there. And as far as for the Seattle against the Eagles, this one I don't think is as big of a slam dunk, just because with Seattle, they're going all the way over to the East Coast, and number 2, they have been struggling too. They lost both their starting and their backup running backs. They've had some injuries on defense, and they've been getting off to really slow starts. And yes, I get with the Eagles, they have had injuries everywhere. Their secondary is awful, but I don't think this is going to be a very easy game for the Seattle Seahawks. I am leaning towards Seattle, but I think this is going to be a pretty close game, Matt.
Yeah, I think this is the closest odds so far, with Seattle only minus 130 away. And then the home team is the underdogs, obviously, at plus 2.5 point spread. So Vegas is seeing this as a very close game. The over and under is 45.5. I think since they just brought back, I'm losing
Marshawn Lynch.
Yeah, I had that name, but for some reason I didn't think that was it.
Who's still? I mean, like, I think that signing is being really overblown. It's just, you could just even tell he is not the same guy as he used to be.
Could he help? Who knows? But I think again, I think this game might buck the trend of home teams if we predicted winning. I think Seattle edges out the Eagles. I mean,
I'm not sure if I said this or not, but I am picking Tennessee over the Patriots.
Okay.
So
I don't know if I don't know if you did say that.
Yeah.
Anywho, I'll pick Seattle to get this win this week, because I believe they won't get past whoever they play.
Yeah. If they beat
they go
if they beat Philadelphia, they go to Santa Clara, which I don't think they are going to get past the 49ers, even though it is a divisional opponent. But we'll talk about that potentially down the road.
Next week.
Yeah, should it happen. Yeah. But it should be a very exciting weekend of games, and I cannot wait to see them. Now,
starting tonight.
Yep. No, what?
As of this when we put this up.
Yeah.
I
keep on forgetting. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Okay, so getting onto some sad news here. Former NBA commissioner David Stern had passed away at the age of 77. When I think of David Stern, he's definitely one of the better sports commissioners, and arguably is probably the actual best one out of the four sports. I mean, he essentially globalized the game of basketball, reaching it out into China, into Europe and everything, and just growing the game as it was, and like being as like popular as it is now. But just a really sad loss, obviously. But I'm not sure what he was suffering from. I knew he was sick over Christmas, and he was hospitalized, but he did I'm not sure if he had some sort of like sickness or something, but yeah, and like he as far with David Stern, the one thing I do recall from him though is when, Matt, do you remember that huge brawl in Detroit with the Indiana Pacers, where basically players were like fighting in the stands and everything back in 2005?
Kind of.
Ron Artest and
maybe
Steven Jackson, and
I mean, I don't really follow their NBA, so yeah. I don't know.
Well, like basically that was kind of the start of the NBA just changing the whole perception of the league and everything, and how everything was going to be presented going forward. He wanted everything to be a little bit more professional, and if you recall, he really hammered down suspensions, because I believe that from that Ron Artest, he got suspended for a full season. Steven Jackson, I think, got like 25 games, and it was crazy. But that was kind of one of the things that I did recall about him. But he definitely he left the game in a very good spot, and now obviously Adam Silver is doing a pretty good job with it. So yeah, I don't have really too much else to say about that. Matt, do you have anything to add there?
No, because I really don't follow the NBA, and I couldn't tell you what he did. That's unfortunate. He passed away, obviously. Mm-hmm. From what I'm hearing, he did good things, like what you said. But since I really don't pay attention to the NBA, and I really don't know what he, again, obviously, like, until you said stuff and read stuff, what he did. So mm-hmm. I really can't say anything.
All right, then. So we are going to now move on to our thoughts on the season finale of The Mandalorian. Now, episode 8 aired. I believe it was one day after we aired our episode 21 podcast last week,
or the day before.
Okay,
because it would be Friday.
Well, I'm counting, but yeah, sure. So yeah. Final thoughts. It was definitely a really good episode. Maybe I just had higher expectations, but I was kind of expecting something bigger, but I do not. But I do not mean that in a bad way. I just expected something a little bit more bigger to happen at the end there, but But man, like they set up a lot of things going into season 2. Now they're introducing arc sabers and everything. I'm sure that going into season 2, we're going to be getting, we're going to be having baby Yoda, introducing more of his like force powers. I would assume that's going to be escalated a bit there.
Yeah, I think, because it was told to take him back to his people, or I forget exactly how they worded it, so forgive me. And people were saying there's like the Jedi and whatnot. So that's going to be interesting. There's rumors that they're going to bring in Skywalker saga characters, whoever that may be.
Yeah.
The black lightsaber is interesting, and it was a good time for me because I wasn't sure, and then I wasn't sure the significance of it, and then luckily I've been binge watching. I probably said this previously. Binge watching Star Wars chronologically from the beginning to now, and I just finished. I think on Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken. It doesn't matter. Around New Year's, Star Wars Rebels, the animated series, and they had the black lightsabers, and that has to do with it's from pretty much been passed down from on Mandalore. I think Sabine had it, the character Sabine, and she gave it to I can't think of his name, but she gave it to somebody else, passed it down. So forgive me on the name part. So it had to go, and from what to my knowledge, if I'm correct, there's only one black saber, right? I think
no idea.
I think so. That's what I'm getting at, because I've only seen one. So I think it's obvious that Gideon is a Mandalorian, or at least from the planet Mandalore, and something with that war that it was explained that the reason why Mando, his parents died and all that during the, I believe,
it was during
the Clone Wars.
Yeah, but it was during the
Clone Wars.
During the Clone Wars, where
Battle of Mandalore.
Yeah, where the Mandalorians saved him. Yeah, saved him.
Fighting the Jedi, I believe. Which could tie into, which I also read, the 7th season of Star Wars, the Clone Wars, because Disney is releasing that 7th season that I think was supposed to get released in the past but didn't because it got canceled.
I think it's coming in like March or February.
I think it's February. Yeah.
It's one of the two.
And I think they'll explain more about the Battle of Mandalore, because you've really just heard it in movies, referenced in movies and other series, and not really explained. And I think that's where that 7th season was going to go, but they ended the Clone Wars. So that's going to be interesting to see how that all ties back, and how that works out. So it's going to be interesting. Excuse me. So it wasn't a huge ending, but if you know the lore, and all that in that black lightsaber, it's interesting enough, big enough, like, oh, where the hell did he get this from? How did this work out? So they can address that, and I think they're going to go all the twists and turns we don't know. Like, we didn't know there was going to be a freaking baby Yoda on the first episode, and look what happened there, and all these little twists and turns. So I can't wait. I can't wait for it to be fall already.
Yep. Yeah. The showrunners, they did announce once the episode aired that season 2 would be appearing this upcoming fall. So they are going right. They're going right into it. So like
I just wanted to be more than 8 seasons, 8 episodes, because I can't get enough.
Yeah, I'm just like judging on how little time that they have to actually shoot it. I would imagine it's probably is only going to be 8 again.
It's just my wish.
Yeah, so yeah, that was really good. There's and to like supposedly they are going to be casting. I'm not sure if you saw this, but supposedly they're going to be casting a young Luke Skywalker in the upcoming Obi-Wan series that is coming on Disney. So that has me very intrigued to see who they exactly choose, and it will be hilarious seeing everyone complaining about the casting because surely that is exactly what's going to happen.
Yep.
And I think I read something that they could be dropping the next date either this month or next month of the next Star Wars film of when it's projected to come. I'm not sure if that is confirmed or not, but supposedly we're supposed to get some sort of an announcement soon here. So
it's probably gonna, well, obviously one of those spin-offs, side story, and I
would think so.
Yeah, because it's too soon for a trilogy.
Obviously, if there is one thing I would like to see is to see a Star Wars without any sort of involvement with the Skywalkers. I would definitely want, like, whether it's with the Old Republic.
That's what I want.
Yeah,
because you hear about it, but there's no.
Yeah.
You don't. You just hear stuff, but you don't know, and it's you can get in so many of those characters that.
Or hell, even about the freaking war with the Siths versus against the Jedi. Like, there's like
and you can get into Darth
Sidious.
Before that, his master. Oh my god, I keep forgetting the name. Black Plague.
Dark Plagueis.
Yeah, Plagueis. You can get into that. And like, so it's new, like,
who was Palpatine's master?
Yeah.
By the way.
So you can get into that. I mean, you have, I don't want to say a blank canvas, but you don't have. It's essentially almost, if you don't use like any comic books or novels as you can take stuff from them but essentially they're not canon.
Yeah.
But it's almost, and I could be wrong, but almost like Episode 4, the first Star Wars movie.
Right.
There's no lore per se already established that you can get potential backlash like Episode 8. Like, oh, this was what happened. You make this. You can start. Nobody has anything to go by besides the novels. But if you go canon wise, like,
right.
It's not really canon since Disney bought it. So you can go a lot of ways. I would rather go Old Republic.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to like, if you continue, you can't continue where you left off with Rey, because then even though technically it wouldn't be a Skywalker, but I think it's a good
story though. There is really nothing else to exactly tell anymore. Like, I just feel like you just need to go into a different direction, whether it's just somewhere else. There are so many other stories that you could possibly tell. It just anything not involving the Skywalkers, I would be fine with.
I think you have to, if you do go eventually down the road, and I just spoiled my thought, down the road to continue a Rey story, whatever, with those people, sure, but do that years from now.
Mm-hmm.
Let it build. Let the let the suspense build, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
But like Old Republic, even if you do like a Rey, I think there's always rumors you see of everything. Maybe a Rey spinoff, like a thing just about her. That's fine, but
I'm not entirely crazy about that, but we shall see what happens. Now, we want to give you our thoughts on the latest Jumanji film, involving Dwayne Johnson, aka the Rock, Kevin Hart, Jack Black, and Danny DeVito. This was an interesting film. Personally, in my opinion, I like the first one better. I felt like that it was funnier, although it was hilarious seeing Rock act out as Danny DeVito. But in my opinion, still the MVP is still freaking Jack Black. Like, he played essentially three different characters in this film.
He played 2 girls and a black guy.
Yep,
and basically play a girl and a black guy within like 5 minutes in one scene.
Was hilarious too.
But like Oscar for best supporting actor there.
Yeah.
Just the versatility, and even like Kevin Hart playing an older playing Danny Glover.
That was hilarious.
Playing that old.
He was talking so slow,
talking just like him, and it was funny. And The Rock being,
it was so weird, like seeing Kevin Hart talking so slow, so monotone. It just like
which was hilarious.
Yeah, it just like it was so weird seeing that and seeing the.
It was basically, this movie is basically, even with the first one, who can have the best impression of the person they're playing. Yep. Which it's basically what it is, and it's hilarious.
Yeah, and I mean, it was kind of weird how they somehow found the game that they supposedly destroyed, but it's somehow not destroyed. But
after the first time, you destroy it and move on.
Yeah, but now and especially I'm spoiler territory here if you guys haven't seen the film, but if you
fast forward,
if you saw the ending, it definitely makes me feel that there's probably going to be a third one, since they didn't destroy the game.
And in the repairman in the okay, well, you already called spoilers, so it's up to you. It's your fault. The repairman and the mother went and looked at it, and the repairman started to play it, and they got shocked. Did they get absorbed in?
I think so. They didn't. I can't remember. They didn't exactly show them going into the game, but I would assume that they probably got sucked into.
Yeah, so there's probably gonna be a third one. And
I would be shocked if there was a third one. Just those. I mean, with that cast there, it was just a fun film. If you involve Kevin Hart and The Rock, I mean, it's going to be hilarious. It's going to be fun, especially when you throw into the mix Jack Black, who is just like from both films, he's been sensational. So I really enjoyed the film. Nothing much else to really say on that, Matt. Anything more to add there?
No, again, just another fun film. Good laughs. If you're into it, it's a good time. So yeah, I can't wait for a possible third one.
All right. So now we're going to get into some wrestling talk here. I'm just going to give some thoughts on AEW Dynamite from last night. Matt, overall, what'd you think of Dynamite?
Not their best, not their worst.
It's kind of how I felt too.
There's bright spots, but downs. Well, there's some bright spots.
The same freaking down spots that we talk about every single weekend. It's getting really annoying, guys. It's getting really damn annoying. Like, how hard is it? We're going into month 4 now. Like, when you're airing a backstage segment, turn down the freaking music so we can hear what the wrestlers are trying to say. It's kind of hard to hear when all you hear is a closing wrestler's music coming back from either their segment or with their match. Like, can we just get these small things fixed?
There was a backstage segment with Street Profits.
Street Profits? Private Party.
Whatever. I knew I said because Street Profits better. Regardless, Private Party. And again interviewed. Okay.
Hangman Page.
In Hangman Page, they're at a bar for some reason, and Hangman Page comes and I don't know why. I couldn't I didn't pay attention because. And when the person's interviewing you with a microphone, right, and it's clear and obvious that she doesn't need the microphone, and you're getting the audio what sounds like from the camera. Like if I were recording this podcast from my phone, and you just heard like that, not echo, but you know what I'm talking about. That's what it sounded like, and it's clearly obvious that the mic is not needed. And sometimes WWE does this too, but the audio still works because they have like a boom mic, even though the interviewer's talking back and forth. But even though the microphone's not up to the people, you can still hear them perfectly, like magic, because there's a boom mic. It obviously wasn't that with this backstage segment, because it was hard to hear, and I had the TV up, and it had my full attention, right? Because NXT was just the award show and the best of, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like, it was hard to hear, and it was in crap. And there was other a backstage segment with
Luchasaurus and
which that I missed because I was doing something real quick.
Yeah.
But
same.
There was
same issues there.
Yeah, but there was another. I forget who it was, but it doesn't matter. Which you can kind of hear like
Riho. Was it her?
It might have been Riho. Yes,
yeah.
It was Riho and Britt Baker.
Which I couldn't hear what she was saying either.
And it you can kind of hear like it was like sound like the audio was coming from the arena.
Yep.
So like you just hearing what the audience was hearing, and again sometimes WWE does that, and you hear the crowd almost, but the actual direct feed audio is more strong than the like the arena audio, if you will. Mm-hmm. So it's not that bad, but like here it was like predominant, and all you heard more of the arena, and it was just like what why
exactly
stop.
Just like they need to.
Somebody's asleep at the switch.
Yeah, like someone needs to get these things figure out. It shouldn't be this hard to sync up, the sound that is happening in a different location. So can we please get that figured out? Another thing, some of these matches went on way too long last night. For example, why is Trent having a competitive match against Jon Moxley, who is the supposed number one contender against Chris Jericho. This match should have been no longer than 5 minutes tops. Instead, this went at least 10 minutes. Why is this going 10 minutes for? Just because you can go 10 minutes doesn't mean that you should. Like it just they need to understand. Not every single guy is going to look good in every single match. It just, you need to prioritize these things. And if you are afraid of Trent getting buried, then don't put him in the match.
Bring in like a local
or something like, make John look incredible because and they keep on pushing this whole angle of like, oh, will Jon Moxley join the inner circle where everyone
that's another
knows,
go ahead, that's another thing
where everyone knows that is clearly is not going to happen. But anyways,
okay, I'm going to get to that point in a second. But the finisher, the Trent thing, I don't know how long this did go. 10 minutes.
I think it went at least 8 or 10 minutes.
Yeah, I feel like it could have probably went 5. You don't have to just completely one-side this and bury him. But you can get some moves in. But obviously, you knew Dean Moxley was going to Freudian slip there. That Moxley was going to win. Trent can get some offense in, but Moxley is going to have the best showing there,
as he should. It's just like simple things like this. They should be able to get.
We don't need a Dave Meltzer 5-star classic every match.
No. But now let's
can I get on the inner circle thing real quick?
Yep.
So to your point, and then I saw this a lot on social media too. A couple people. It's obvious. We all know he's not joining inner circle.
Yeah.
Right. You build up for 2 weeks. Your tease for 2 weeks. Will Moxley accept the offer? Right. And that's fine. And Jericho entices him with 49% of the company, if you will, of the inner circle. Mm-hmm. Which somebody did bring up a point. I forget who it is. If that's the case, and Jericho gets 50%, did Jericho have 100% all the other time, and everybody else has no say in the thing?
Yeah, and also
which is
and
funny.
Also and
which is hilarious.
And also, Chris Jericho also stated this on Twitter last night. He said, yes, I own everything. Everything is my creation,
which is hilarious. And then he enticed him with a I forget the car,
a GT Ford.
I saw this too. Mm-hmm. Was that the same car? And I gotta look and find this. That was Cena got in trouble with for trying to sell.
Yep, it's the same one.
Which if they did that on,
he got sued for that too.
If Jericho did that on purpose as a little nod to that, that's hilarious.
It's like a rib there.
Yes, that's hilarious. But anywho, so you teased that, right?
Yeah.
All well and good. Hero's thing to do. Here's all this stuff. Mm-hmm. Live life of luxury. But then Moxley's like, okay, I'll say it next week.
Yeah.
Well,
I think too. Another problem they also had was with like Jericho being in Japan for Wrestle Kingdom this weekend. It kind of complicated things, but yeah,
I just don't like it. You tease it for 2 weeks and you come here like, You know what? Next week.
Yeah. They could have planned that out a little bit better. But now onto some of the positive things. Matt, one thing that really stood out to me was I love this venue that they go to in like Jacksonville. Like, to me, that just looks big. It looks completely different from any other venue, which is a very good thing.
I don't know what I thought of it when I first saw it, but it's small but yet big.
Yeah,
it looks like.
And another thing that I feel really stood out too was Taz was really good on commentary.
I missed Taz on commentary.
Him like this. With him and like JR, they complement each other perfectly, and this was easily JR's best commentary job in a very long time. So
can we get Excalibur
yeah,
out of there?
I'm so over him too. Like, Excalibur needs to understand. You need to explain things to people who don't know some of the backstories on things. And one thing in particular, I will bring up is when Penelope Ford took out or low blowed Joey Janela, and forget and they just said hey Penelope Ford really put that over, and he didn't bother telling us why this was such a big deal.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Like, just say that was Penelope's ex there, and that's all that you need to say.
Oh crap! I was gonna say something else. What was I gonna say? Okay, just continue. I'll figure it out.
But as far as from an energy and a like knowledge standpoint, Taz just really stood out here. I would love to see him, like, to me, him with JR and with Tony Schiavone is a really good trio. That's probably honestly their best commentary booth. I just like I get that with Excalibur, he is one of the one of the elite's friends and all, but he just looks completely out of place with Taz and especially Tony Schiavone.
Yeah, another nitpicking thing that bothered me was right in the beginning. Right, open the show, they're like, we're gonna start off hot. We have Cody Rhodes versus Darby Allin. That's coming up next, and then Excalibur comes on, and not particularly his fault. And then they go preview the night, like, it's coming up next, blah blah blah. And then later on, I was just like, well, no, you just hyped it up. It's coming up next, like right now, and then you move on. And
I don't think that was probably his fault.
No, I'm not saying it's his fault, but I'm just saying the order of stuff. I'm like, if you did coming up, start the show. We have this, we got this, we have this, but it's coming up right now. We're gonna kick off with Cody Rhodes, Darby Allin, and you show that video package, and you're off for the races. It just, to me, that again, that's nitpicking, because it was just like, this is next, but one more thing. I was like, Anywho, that's a nitpicking thing.
But speaking of that match, that was a very good match. The only criticism I have is it went too long, and B, some of those false finishes were kind of ridiculous. More so with
I didn't like the finish.
More so like when Cody hit that spot off of he top rope, and I think he spiked Darby on the freaking mat. That should have ended it right there. And then when he hit Darby with the crossroads, spiked his head right on the freaking mat, and he still kicked out. And and I get it. They want to make Darby look strong. I get it, but I mean, like, Cody should not need Arn Anderson's help, and like who like, I don't have any problem with him being as Cody's manager, but the problem is, like, he shouldn't need 25 minutes to beat Darby Allin. And I get it, they want to put him over, but like, this was not the time to do it with Cody, especially when he's in a really big feud with MJF.
And then I don't like how he won with a roll up.
Yeah, like that
after
that
using the crossroads.
That didn't make any damn sense to me.
No, it was just like, really.
But I will say that I liked the match overall.
Oh, it was
a
great match.
But definitely just the length and just how it ended definitely took something away from it. But still very good nonetheless. But Matt, if there's a better heel in professional wrestling outside of MJF, I would love to see who that person is, because my God, no one can control a crowd. No one can piss people off like this man can. Like, just the stipulations that MJF gives to Cody, just it's like, it's so old school to me. Just like, there is not one likable, there's not one redeemable quality about MJF, and man, that is very rare to see into
I
business.
think this was the easily the highlight of the show. Easily the highlight of the show. Just, I love the promo. I love the stipulations. Mm-hmm. Unique, especially the last. It was, you have the face Wardlow.
Inside a steel cage.
And had to let him being MGF whip Cody 10 times with a leather belt, which is interesting, and I probably as old school as you can get.
Yep. This definitely feels like something that probably Husty did back in the day. Don't ask me to quote when that of this specific feud or anything, but this definitely feels like a callback to something back earlier.
Yeah.
In his heyday, but this to me is easily AEW's best feud going on right now. It's
easily,
it's the best story going on right now. It's the thing that whether it's Cody or MJF, I feel will have like everyone's undivided attention.
You can argue based on storylines right now that both of these two are the top stars in this company right now,
outside of Chris Jericho.
Well, just based on storylines right now.
Yeah.
And yeah, your point is fair. No argument here, but it's just whether or not the crowd legit hates them or is going along for the ride, and it's just that good that they
it's
appreciate.
A little bit. I feel it's a little bit.
I don't know if anybody really
both.
Hates him.
You just look at his Twitter page and you'll see. Just look at his Twitter page.
But I don't know. But regardless, it works. He's great. Mm-hmm. It's a good feud, old school feud, which we don't get enough of.
No, and I definitely see that this is probably going to be dominating most of them 2020 for both of these guys. I do see some sort of like hell in a cell like type of a like match, whether it's a like first blood match or something like that. Maybe at double or at double or nothing or something like that. But yeah, like this has a ton of potential. Now, something that has no potential right now is the AEW's women's division.
Can I say this is probably the better women's matches that they put on, if not the best one?
It was. It's just like I just didn't care. Didn't care. I'm sorry. As long as you have that title on freaking Rio, I'm going to tune it out.
Can I ask a clarifying question here? Because I don't want to be ignorant of the fact here that Chris was it Stanlander? What's the last name?
Chris Statlander.
Stantler, yeah. Did she won a number one contendership match, right?
Right.
Last 2 weeks ago, right?
Yep.
Why was there a fatal four-way for that championship this week?
Because they promised a title match on this week, and basically Tony Khan wanted to still give the fans a title match. However, now Chris Statlander is getting her title shot next week,
right,
on Dynamite, which I would hoping that she takes that title off of Riho, because like they need to get that title off of her. Like no offense to her, but for the second biggest company in the States, she cannot be your freaking women's champion. She just cannot be. Like, first of all, she doesn't speak any English, which that's a big problem. Number two, there's nothing that really stands out about her. I'm not trying to be disrespectful or anything, but that's just how it is. Like it just amazes me just how people such as Kenny Omega cannot see this and understand this, why she is not really over, and why the fans just don't care about the women's division right now. They're just like, there is like no storylines, and don't even get me started on that god awful crap with Randy and like her weird ass stuff there. So I pray to God that Chris wins the title next week, and we start to get something that is interesting about this women's division.
Because I sat here watching, and they had the Fatal 4, and I forgot she had the number one contendership, and they showed that graphic, and I kind of just like threw my hands up. Wait, she's gonna do it again? Why? Why was this a thing? Why does she have to defend her title this week? I was confused.
Yeah, and this all falls back on AEW. How do you not know that on the week that you advertised this match, that you did not know that Chris Statlander had a prior booking or something on that same day? Just very bad stuff there. But obviously Riho retains her title. God help me, but
still don't know how.
Yeah. So and the final thing that we're going to talk about the show was the main event with the Elite Kenny Omega and the Bucks versus Pac and the Lucha Brothers. This was pretty good. Pretty much essentially what you would expect. They were teasing a new character for Hangman. He was on commentary. I'm not sure if he's playing more of an alcoholic now, if he's slowly turning down that
as a bartender.
Yeah, as a bartender is turning down more as confused. A heel now. Yeah, so yeah, and that's how Dynamite went off the air. And for next week, they did advertise that we would have a face-to-face confrontation with Jericho and Jon Moxley, where he would where Moxley would give Jericho his answer about joining the Inner Circle.
I hope they push it back another week. That'd be hilarious.
Then we have the AEW women's title match between Riho versus Chris Statlander, and I believe that was the two main important things for next week.
I believe you're correct.
I think they advertised Kenny for something. I'm not sure if he's facing Pac next week or not, but
I don't know.
But we'll find out later. But before we get to the like funny thing of the week,
pumped up for this. I can't. I've been waiting all day.
The Lana, Rusev, and Lashley bullshit effery.
Damn it.
Damn it.
That's so good.
That happened. This is what the current WWE is now. This is their biggest storyline that they're airing in 2020. Matt, I'm just gonna let you talk here
okay.
because I'm too disgusted right now.
This whole thing, in particular, the wedding. If I can play both sides here, devil's advocate, could have been okay. I'm saying okay, but this segment. Did you watch? You didn't watch this, right?
I did not know.
Okay. Dragged out way too long. If they, which it kind of just sucked the life out. It took too long. And we got the surprise return of Liv Morgan, which apparently is going to team up with Rusev now. That Liv had it was in a quote-unquote relationship with Lana, which, lucky duck. But that's how we can bring her back. So it looks like we have our two teams facing each other. And then it went off the air. The crowd was kind of dead, but they kind of were excited for Liv Morgan with that reveal that she was with Lana, which was hilarious. But we'll see how it goes. Didn't go off too well. I mean, it just dragged on. I think it was way too long. So yeah, we're kind of a time restraint here, so I'm going to move on real quick to the funny story of the week, and this is a retiring English teacher fined for repeated park pooping. So this is as of the 2nd of today at this recording.
Park pooping?
Yes. Wisconsin man, here I'm going to quote, and it's link in the description. A Wisconsin man who was cited for regularly defecating in a public park over a period of 2 years admitted that his excuse for doing so was, quote unquote, pretty crappy. Jeffrey Churchwell said he publicly defecated up to several times per day in Natureland Park in Whitewater. This is a 60-year-old suspect. He was cited for disorderly conduct and agreed to pay a $365 fine plus $5,705 to the county public works department to reimburse them for, and I quote here, the stains he left behind. The sheriff's department got first wind of this. We're back on October 8th. A worker at a highway stop complained about the poop and used toilet paper. The worker showed the deputy some trail camera photos of Churchwell, and they got a partial plate, and they pulled him over, and he asked why he was being stopped, and the deputies asked him if he wanted to see pictures of why he got pulled over, and it says here he allegedly hung his head and said, "Going to the bathroom," because they caught him. At first, Churchill told police he'd been pooping in the parks in summer, but he later admitted that he's been dropping, again, quote, dropping deuces for more than a year. He reportedly told, according to the report here, I'm sorry, he said, Churchill said stupidity was the reason for the public poops, and he did it for convenience and to be disrespectful. He sent an apology email to the deputy who arrested him and said, quote, I'm so disappointed in myself. I have the great opportunity to teach political rhetoric. In the class, I stress the importance of involved citizenship, and then there I am being a lousy citizen of Walworth County. My hypocrisy now sickens me. And it continues, as well, after really thinking about why I did what I did, I came to the conclusion that I allowed my thrill-seeking, self-indulgent pride and ego both to get the best of me. For that, I'm truly ashamed. If the 1,000 students for some reason respect me in my efforts here were to discover this flaw, well, I wouldn't be good. It wouldn't be good. He was supposed to retire, I think, at the end of this month. He's worked for the district since the 90s. So, going number 2 in the woods.
Yep.
For this retiring teacher. And on that note, we're going to end this podcast here. You know what to do. Like, comment, and subscribe. We do have a Twitter account. I'm going to link that down below as well. I just started it today, as of Thursday, and try to update it with updates and stuff, so you know if we're doing one, if anything changes, and we post episodes there and whatnot. John got to get going, so we're going to end this. John, any final quick thoughts?
Nope. Just I'll see you guys next week.
Yep. So again, for John, I'm Matt. See you next week.